Yo, Jonathan here. This is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which is a beautiful EV. I recently got a chance to spend a couple days with it, and all I can say is it left me wanting even more time with it. So this actually dates a few months back to a tweet of mine when I first caught a glimpse of the Ioniq 5. I just remember seeing it and thinking, man, this looks really, really good. Hyundai actually saw that tweet and ultimately ended up extending an invite and sponsoring a trip out to Nashville to check out their electrified lineup, which is stacked. They showcased the Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs, their Kona EV, and of course, the Ioniq 5, which is why we are here. All that really did for me was add fuel to the fire, because as good as it looks in pictures online or even through a video, it somehow looks even better in person. Hopefully you guys watch and get a chance to see it in person, or at the very least out in the wild, because Hyundai's design team is killing it right now. Futuristic is probably the best word I could use to describe the looks of the Ioniq 5, and with more and more EV options being available, this stands out in the best possible way, and I think Hyundai is really making a name for themselves. The attention to detail, the build quality, there are even elements of the Ioniq 5 that to me are almost DeLorean-like, and I love that. It's just really nice to look at, and as beautiful as it is from the outside, it is equally beautiful on the inside. I immediately fell in love with the displays. One, how clean everything looked, but two, how nicely laid out everything was, just right smack in front of you. Whether you're into CarPlay or Android Auto, Hyundai did a really nice job of implementing modern tech like those displays, but also having tactile function and control at the same time. So for example, being able to change drive modes or even brake modes without having to jump into a menu, especially while driving, is something I enjoyed. With those drive modes, you have Eco, which is going to be the most battery and range efficient all the way up to Sport. And believe me, this thing has some serious kick. So because of regenerative braking, that is where the brake modes come into play. The way that works is when you're coasting or braking, that'll take your wheel's rotations and then convert that into electricity, which ultimately can extend your driving range. So low is going to give you the most coasting, the least regen, and probably what we're all most used to. The higher you go, the less coasting you get, but the more regen braking you get, all the way up to iPedal, which will actually engage the brakes as soon as you take your foot off the accelerator and ultimately come to a complete stop. And then with the display, something as simple as having a view when you're changing lanes or turning while driving. And something that really blew my mind was not only their backup cam, but when you're backing up, with the amount of cameras that are packed inside here, somehow, some way they are generating this insane top-down view of the car, which looks like somehow there's a satellite above you just beaming it down. And when people see that, that's when their mind kind of just immediately explodes, because even me personally, I've never experienced or used anything like that. So without a doubt, more than ever now, if you're looking for a new car, I think EVs make a lot of sense, but there's always that impending question or even doom in the back of your mind when it comes to an EV regarding the battery, the range, how long does it take to charge, and what are my charging options altogether. With the Ioniq 5, that's available with a range of up to 303 miles, which to me is kind of the sweet spot when it comes to EVs. Charging locations was actually something I was very curious about once I got a chance to check out the Ioniq 5 in person. Were there spots around me? How far was I gonna have to drive? Fortunately though, I found multiple spots all within a couple miles, and as advertised, charging was wildly fast. Now the Ioniq 5 supports ultra-fast charging up to 800 volts, and what that translates to is about 60 miles of range in 5 minutes, or you can charge it from 10% all the way up to 80% in under 18 minutes. In my testing for the station that I found, I believe that supported up to 400 volts. That was in a relatively busy time of day where it was pretty packed, and what that looked like is it took me from 55% up to 80 in just about 9 minutes. I believe that session cost around $12 or $13, but the enticing thing is with Hyundai right now, when you grab a new EV, they're also including 2 years of free 30-minute charging sessions through Electrify America, which is kind of wild. One other huge added peace of mind with the Ioniq 5 is that Hyundai includes a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty that also extends to the battery, which is huge. So battery range, charging options, charging speed, and then ultimately knowing that that battery is charged throughout the warranty lifetime of the car, I think shows that Hyundai is knocking it out of the park. The other thing that I really enjoyed with the Ioniq 5 was their Highway Assist Driving 2 feature, which worked extraordinarily well. So this works by keeping you a safe distance from the vehicle in front of you and at the same time making sure you're centered in your lane. It'll also even change lanes for you once you engage the turn signal, and it is constantly monitoring what's in front of you, what's behind you, and to the side of you, so that way if you're about to change lanes and someone tries to cut you off, it's gonna hold off until things are clear and then make that move. I am not out here trying to get cut off, but here's what it looks and feels like in real life. You remember when Kevin's in the church? He becomes friends with the old scary man.
The one that he was afraid of at first.
Yeah.
Talk to him about how he hasn't seen his son in however long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the song, the blinker reminds me of this song for some reason.
Do you like 1 or 2 better?
I like both, but I mean, 1 is definitely a classic. 2's pretty good though. Wait, have we had this conversation where you like 2 better?
I think I like 2 better, but yeah, I agree. 1 is like...
At this point, Highway Drive Assist 2 is fully engaged and the vehicle is doing everything from maintaining distance to keeping me centered in the lane and even controlling the speed. You can also take more of a hybrid approach and work in parallel with the vehicle. So let's say you want it to control the distance between cars, keeping you centered in the lane, and then you control speed, you can do that as well. The more I used the Ioniq 5, the more I discovered little things like that, and the more and more I wanted to drive the car. So if you want to see a more in-depth, longer form video on this, let me know by dropping a like down below. It's always a little nerve-wracking trying something like that out, but I think they implemented things really well down to the control you have over everything. From there, there's just a ton of really useful things, like seeing what your battery range is going to look like with the AC on or off, or what it looks like blasted versus somewhere in the middle. Honestly, out of everything that I've talked about so far, the reason that is probably going to make you go out and buy this car right now is the fact that there are air-conditioned seats, which is something I've never experienced, and it was something that I did not know I needed until I got a chance to use it. The speakers and the sound system from Bose sound phenomenal, and there's enough power inside the car to charge a laptop, which is something I'm weirdly excited about. Really, I'm not someone who loves to drive all the time, but I think this made me want to drive. There's just a ton of really great things going for it, from the drive to the looks to the tech inside to the EV features to the warranty, and I think any apprehension that you might have had towards an EV can kind of get thrown out the window with this one because it checks all the boxes. All I can say again is the couple of days with the Ioniq 5 went by extremely fast, and it has me thinking about it, reevaluating my life, and just wanting to again spend some more time with it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did and you were feeling like being awesome, make sure to drop a like down below. This is Jonathan, and I will catch you guys later.